And thank you all for joining. I really do appreciate it. So I'd like to first begin with a land acknowledgement. So if you bear with me, we acknowledge that we live on the unceded territory of the Piscataway peoples. The people of Piscataway, or the Piscataway peoples, lived in villages along land and rivers where they grew corn, beans, squash, fished, and hunted. We acknowledge that this land does not belong to those who now occupy it and was taken unfairly or by force from those who live here now, and was taken from the peoples previously that were indigenous to the land. We also acknowledge that the land on which we stand was the site of enslavement. People of African descent were enslaved here and working on tobacco plantations throughout the area in which we now live. So thank you very much, you all, for being here. Thank you for making the time this evening. I'm so excited that you all are here, and we're going to learn about solar, and we're going to let the sun shine. So I'm here with Kimberly Armstrong of Solar United Neighbors. It's such a pleasure to have her, and you guys are going to be excited when you hear her story. I also like to thank tonight's co-sponsors, the Montgomery County Green Bank, and 6 churches for making our workshop possible tonight. Alfred Street Baptist Church, my church, Beloved Community Church, UCC, 19th Street Baptist Church, Norwood Uphold, UMC, Plymouth Congregational, UCC, and Shepherd Park Christian Church, and all the other churches that are on and have joined us. We really, really appreciate you coming on this workshop tonight. Most of our time tonight will be spent learning how to actually go solar, getting practical guidance on how solar purchasing groups work from Kimberly and Solar United Neighbors. Throughout the evening, you are welcome to share questions in the chat. While folks are speaking, we'll try to get to them when we see them or after the presentation. We'll conclude the night by taking a moment to start the process of going solar by signing up for co-ops if you're interested, and seeing if our homes are a good fit for solar panels. Okay, are we ready to go? I think so. So, all right, let me give you a little bit of background and why I think solar is so important for us. As a Christian, I believe it is our responsibility to be good stewards of the earth, as well as be good neighbors to those in our communities. Black and brown communities are the ones that suffer the most from climate catastrophes, like flooding, heat waves, as well as environmental issues like poor water, air quality, and other toxic pollutants that are in our environment. So, Black and brown communities need to learn about renewable energy and benefit from these new technologies. This is about equity for Black and brown communities, as we are usually not provided with the information and thus do not receive the benefits like other communities do. So that's the reason why I do this. We need to know, and we need to benefit from, all the things that's going on with regard to new renewable energy. And that's why we're having this workshop, and that's why you're here. For those of you who don't know me, a few of you do. I've worked in environmental justice for over 10 years. I studied at GW in sustainable urban planning. My focus was on urban revitalization and how Black and brown communities dealt with affordable housing, displacement, and gentrification. So, over the years, I worked for environmental groups. I worked on trash incineration, water quality, fracking, air quality issues, other issues associated with climate. I started as the social justice director for my church, for Love Community Church. And then I began working also with Joelle at IPL-DMV when we started working on the National Green the Church event that was held in Baltimore in 2016, which some of you may have attended. I rejoined IPL with Joelle in January 2022 to work with Black churches and to create the new Green the Church DMV affiliate. So in the chat, we'll put a link. So if you click on the link, you can join the group. It's a Facebook group. Stay connected. We post things about environmental justice and other environmental happenings impacting the Black church and the Black community. So please join me as we build out that movement. So now let's go to some success on solar. And I'm so happy to introduce this woman. Miss Armstrong, Kimberly Armstrong, is the Maryland Program Director for Solar United Neighbors, or what we're going to call SUN from now on, amongst other things. She has several years of experience as a sustainability advisor, author, community advocate, has been recognized nationally for her work on social justice, equality issues. She previously served as an advisory board member for SUN and several community grassroots organizations, which provides her with a unique and integrated perspective that is needed in today's complex community challenges and social demands. She enjoys spending time with her immediate family and traveling. And she also is a very dear friend of mine. As soon as we met, we clicked and we became friends. And I am so happy to welcome you, Kimberly, to this event.
Well, thank you, Robin. It is absolutely my pleasure. And I think me and you actually met at the 2016 event, and we've been hanging tight ever since, just trying to get the word out about how to go green and how to be sustainable and renewable energy and things of that nature. So, it's really my pleasure to be here. And as you'll hear about my story a little bit later on, and why I'm so passionate about this, but also why I'm in the field and the realm that I am with Solar United Neighbors.
Yeah. So let me ask you a couple of questions. Just throw in your mixture of your flavor of Kim. So, all right. So on the invitation, we saw your picture standing in front of these solar panels on your own house. Let's hear from you about that experience. What inspired you to go solar, and how did you start the process?
So back in like 2000 and maybe 2010, so my background has been in community organizing for years. So I probably have like maybe 15 years or more in just community organizing, right? So I'm very passionate about educating our community and how is it that we get our community involved in social justice issues, because predominantly they affect us, right? So I decided to go back to Baltimore City Community College for construction and business management. And in that process, I learned about what they call leadership in environmental and engineering design. And in that is a concept around green buildings and how to make buildings more healthier. And a lot of times we think about pollution, we think about outside, right? Actually, indoor air quality and pollution can be just as hazardous as outside. And we don't always click it, or we always don't have those things, in our mind, because we just think when we hear pollution, we hear outside, we hear about, incinerators, we hear about toxic air and things of that nature. So the thing that struck me from my organizing is thinking about how I could use my organizing and also around environmental issues that were mainly affecting us. And I am a prime example of that because I have asthma. And I acquired asthma. I was not born with it. My sister has asthma. two of my grandchildren were born with respiratory issues. So I just started like connecting the dots. And when I learned about this, renewable energy and how we can reduce our emissions, reduce our carbon footprint, but also how, from a public health standpoint, because we are affected by all these different things, how is it that I could not just walk the walk, but talk the walk that I was showing? So I got involved into several different organizations. I got solar, and I've had solar on my home now for about maybe 6 years.
Wow. So you were one of the newer ones. I'm sure there are people who've had it a long time, but I think that's a pretty good amount of years. So you can give us some experience. So that's what inspired you, right? So kind of tell us how you got it. How did the process go? Tell us a little bit about how the process of getting it onto your roof.
Okay. So I live in Baltimore City, and a lot of times you don't see people that have a lot of solar in the city. You may see it out in the county, but you don't see a whole lot of Baltimore City residents that have solar. So when they were doing this pilot program, I think it might have been maybe 2011 or 12, and they could only do with so many homes. And I applied for it, never heard anything back from anybody. And so I just assumed that I wasn't chosen. Lo and behold, one day I'm in Home Depot and I get a call from a guy saying, we need to look at your electrical box. And I'm like, why do you want to look at my electrical box? And he said, well, you were selected to get solar, right? And so just through that process, it was long, put it to you like that. So it's not a like, you want to get solar, it's going to be on your house the next day. No, it's a lot of moving parts to it. Permitting. They had to upgrade my electrical panel to make sure that my system could hold it. Then you have a lot of inspectors that come out after that happens. So it's an ongoing moving process. So it took me maybe about 4 or 5 months to just go through the process. And then it took maybe another 2 months, which they call flipping the switch. So that's where you have your meter out back where an inspector comes and makes sure everything is hooked up, and you can actually turn the interconnection on. So that's what they call flipping the switch. So it's kind of like a celebratory thing. Then it takes a while for the system to kick in. And my system started kicking in like maybe in October. And in October, you don't have as much daylight. So it kind of took a while for it to just, ramp up.
Yeah. So by the time you saw any impacts on your bill, because you do what they call net metering, which you'll probably explain, right?
Yeah, I'll talk about that.
So by the time you saw the benefits, or did you, or how long did it take before you saw financial benefits, from having solar on your?
I would say within about between 6 to 8 months when the system started to kick in. So I have reduced my electricity bill at least about 30%.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So this is the way I see it, and I'll talk about this a little bit later too in my presentation, is that energy is something that we have to pay for. So if I have an opportunity to pay less of it, it's a win-win for everybody, because BG&E or Pepco or whoever your utility company is, they're coming for you if you don't pay that bill. So if I can pay less of the bill, then why not?
Right.
It's a win-win. It's something that you have to have. So if something that I have to have and I can pay less of it, I'm all game for it.
So what's your favorite memory about going solar?
So my favorite memory is I have a pitch roof, right? I have an in-the-house pitch roof in Baltimore City, and the rest of the houses that are connected to me are flat roofs, right? So I've been in my house like 26 years, and me and my next door neighbor have not always had the most cordial experience, okay? So the funny thing was that in order for them to access a part of my pitch roof, they had to get permission from her to go in her yard and to go on top of her side of the roof because it was flat.
Mm.
And so they had to take these panels and everything. I mean, they had a ladder in her yard and everything. So that was one of my most memorable things about that. But then also is that Grid Alternatives did my solar project, and I saw young people. I saw people of all colors, white, black, you name it. I saw a lot of young girls. young women who were like, one of them was like the project manager. I mean, so that's my most memorable thing about solar. It's an opportunity for young people to get involved and know this industry and make really, really good money.
Yeah, amen. So I guess you and your neighbor are friends now, right?
Well, I'm just gonna say we're cordial. And
Okay.
yeah, so this is the church meeting, okay? So I'm gonna keep it like that. We
Well,
got
hey,
church folk.
church folk people too now.
Yeah, yeah. I'll just keep it nice and simple, okay?
Keep it nice,
We're
keep it nice.
cordial.
So, you mentioned the panels are working well. I mean, how are they, and how are the panels working? I mean, are they doing well now, or they
Oh
just
yeah, absolutely. So when you get solar, they have a monitor where you can actually go online and look and see what you're producing, right?
wow.
Also, I get a report from Enphase that tells me, the energy how much energy I have saved that month. They also give you an end of year update on how much energy you have saved in kilowatts over the production of a year. They also tell me how many trees I have saved. So, girl,
Mm,
I'm out here saving trees.
wow.
And I didn't even go out. I didn't chop anything down. I didn't have to be a tree hugger or anything. So, those kinds of things, right? So, and, because they monitor it, if something is going on, they will call you and say, hey, we see that something is not, right with one of your panels or a couple of your panels. And they will come out and,
Adjust.
resolve the issue. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Okay, one last question. I know you're gonna answer this question, or you may have already. Why do you think it's important for Black communities, Black and Brown communities in particular, to shift to solar power?
I think it's important for the Black communities to start shifting is because now the price of solar is coming down. It's becoming more affordable. And, let's just keep it real. We're on the high list for everything, whether it's diabetes, high blood pressure, asthma, you name it. So the more of us that get involved in renewable energy and solar, the more that we can reduce our pollution, also our reliance on fossil fuels, right? Or and a lot of times we have incinerators in our community that we don't even know about,
Yeah.
right? So it's a lot of things for us to try to be more proactive than reactive, which is kind of like sometimes what I feel like we are not as progressive or as not as informed. And some things are intentional and some things are not as intentional. It's just that sometimes when we get older or maybe young, whatever, you just feel like it's not important and it don't affect you. And I also think too, Robin, is that we have always thought or had this stigma that solar was a rich white person's thing. Only affluent white people could afford this, right? So we don't really entertain it because of that mind frame and that stigma, right? Is that it's going to cost too much, it's too time consuming. Only white people in the suburbs can get it, or rich Black people. So all these different stereotypes play into to our concept of what we think solar really is. One, because we haven't been informed and we haven't been properly educated to where we are now in 2022.
Right, right. And I think that's changing. That's why we got having workshops, and you're seeing it more and more in our communities. So I thank you very much for sharing your personal experience. Um, Now I am going to shift to your presentation, Kimberly. You're gonna go again. So, for those of you who are participating, we welcome you to ask questions in the chat. While Kimberly is speaking, we'll try to get to them either after the presentation, or she may cover them. So just hang out. But following the presentation, we'll take a few minutes to sign up to some co-ops to just get more information. There is no obligation in any of the signups. But I want to thank you and thank Kimberly, because I'm going to hand it off to you. You're on.
Okay, thank you, Robin. So I'm going to share my screen. And as Robin said, if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat and I can answer them later. And I won't be able to, or I may be able to see folks. Okay, all right. So you're going to be learning some what we call Solar 101 in Maryland. So we have two solar co-ops actually going on in Maryland right now. So we have the Capital Area Co-op, which consists of Prince George's County, Montgomery County, Frederick County, and Baltimore County. And part of this co-op is also EV charging. So I'll be talking about a little bit about EV charging as well. Okay, why my screen is not moving? Okay, there we go. So these are just some housekeeping things. You can join by audio, submit your questions in the chat. And as you heard, this webinar is being recorded. These are some of our partners with the co-op. As you can see, we have several. A lot of them are based in Montgomery County and Anne Arundel County. And on the Eastern Shore too, didn't want to forget that. So we have the Anne Arundel Eastern Shore co-op as well. We are a vendor neutral nonprofit national 501c3. We help people to go solar and join together and fight for the energy rights. And when we talk about fighting for your energy rights, meaning that we do a lot of advocacy work and we do a lot of policy work, not just on a local level, but also on the federal level. So we've been working also with the Biden administration to try and get some of these things federally accomplished and done. So Solar United Neighbors was started by Anya. Anya is the young lady that you see in the picture along with her son and his best friend and her husband. And she actually started it in 2007 in Washington, D.C. She wanted to go solar, but she found not only was it difficult to understand and navigate the process, it was only 2 solar companies at that time. And so they were trying to compete, but the rates were just, unaffordable. And so she started to think, how is it that I can take my whole neighborhood or community to go solar? So it's kind of like the concept of how Solar United Neighbors came about. And it's really based around also a model of like wholesaling, like you go to your big box store. So the theory of change is to go solar and support with new existing systems, join together, as I talked about before. And some of the things we also provide are different resources. Before COVID hit, we had solar tours and we love happy hours. Matter of fact, it's a happy hour coming up. August the 12th, it's going to be in Frederick at the Black Ankle. If you go on our website and look at events, you can find all the information there and register. And I would love to see some of the people that I see through Zoom all the time or emails, actually see them in person. Last year we did this and we had a nice time. And fighting for your energy rights, as I stated before, I want to be talking about net metering, some things around homeowners associations that we also work on, and present solar homeowners and some people who already have solar like to promote how they went solar, similar to what I did tonight. Working for equity. So we want to make solar equitable for everyone. As I stated earlier, now we're in a place where solar is a lot more affordable. So we want to get the word out and talk to people more and see how it is that we can help make it more fair and equitable for everyone to go solar. So these are some of the things I'm going to talk about tonight. First thing is being the solar technology. Second thing is solar economics. Number 3, how solar co-ops work. I'm going to talk a little bit about the process and how you all may want to be a member of the solar co-op. So solar photovoltaic, what we call, you may hear some installers say PV for short, convert solar energy to electricity. These are some of the components of your solar array. And these are the materials that are used to make up the modules. And on your right, maybe your left, my right, is the solar array. So a consistent series of panels that are connected is what they call a solar array. And we get a lot of questions about this. Well, how do they get the solar panels on my roof and how are they connected? They're connected through what we call a racking system. So I was curious about this too, and it's kind of similar to like the equipment they use for roofing when they do shingles. And we get questions about, well, if they penetrate my roof, will my roof leak? No. What you see, these black, what they call flashings right here. That is preventing any kind of leakage that would be like if it rained or anything from your roof being becoming wet, or inside your house, leakage and things of that nature. And this is another racking system, which is on a flat roof. A lot of times you see in Baltimore City, you see a lot of flat roofs, but it also could be like a commercial building. It could be a school. It could be a municipality building. And this is, sometimes you may have seen this like in rural areas, or maybe sometimes even out in the county, where some people have what they call ground mounts. People usually use ground mounts when they may not have enough roof space, or say they have a field that's on the, that's attached to the home, but they may not have, the capacity on a roof to actually get the amount of solar that they want to get. They may choose to do what they call a ground mount system. Some of the other components that you may hear, be interested in talking to your installer about, are the converters. The inverters, which you have the string inverter is mostly used for ground mounts and commercial. Then you have the string inverters and your DC optimizer. And the micro inverter is the one that's most commonly used because it's actually attached to the panel. So when I was getting my solar installed, I wanted to watch everything. And I did have some pictures, and I think I deleted them because I had so many in my Google Drive. But they look very similar to this, and they would attach to the actual panel, and they just connect them all together. So as you heard me talk about earlier with my solar panel, people wonder about this, especially in older homes. How does my solar connect to my electrical panel? It's just a simple connection in your panel. Most home electric systems don't need upgrades before solar. However, mine did, because my home is a little bit older, and the panel that I had didn't have enough space to hold my system size, so they had to upgrade it, which I thought was absolutely fantastic, because I kind of got like a little mini rewiring of some of the things in my house. Some stuff that didn't work is now working. So that was an upgrade for me. As I stated earlier about the solar array. So this is how, think about having a mini solar plant on your home, right? So the kilowatts, which you'll hear a lot of people say KW, is the system that is measured in kilowatts. So I have a 4 kilowatt system. The kilowatt hours, which you'll hear, is called KW hours, which is the amount of electricity that's produced from your system. So I have a 4 kilowatt system, and it produces energy depending on how much sun, how much energy that I'm outputting back to the grid, and all those kind of things. And the average system is anywhere between 4 kilowatts and 9 kilowatts. And it's based on site, it's based on your goals, it's based on your budget. Some people can offset their electricity actually 100%. Now, I couldn't do that because I have a small roof, and I didn't have enough capacity on my roof to offset my electricity 100%. So this is just a diagram that shows you actually how it works. So the system, as I stated right here, is what they call the solar array. So these are a series of panels that are connected. Then it goes down to the inverter, then through your electric panel, and then through the utility meter. And some people wonder, like, if I get solar, am I still connected to the grid? Yes, you are. So this is a little better in talking about, you absorb the energy from the sun. The inverters to energy from the sun is from DC to AC, electricity to use. So meaning that when the panels are collecting the energy from the sun, is that when it goes into your inverter and inverts it to AC, is that it's used in your house, like for your refrigerator, your toaster, anything that you're using electricity in your home. And I'm going to talk about number 4 a little bit more in detail. And you use it, you know, in your school, your office, your home. And this is what we call the net meter. So this is kind of cool to watch. If you have solar, I have solar, and sometimes I like to go outside and just look at my meter because it's like little digital numbers that you'll see. And you can actually look at sometimes when the meter is going backwards. So it's kind of cool. So it's a bi-directional utility meter, and it measures your use. So this is specifically designed for net metering. So any excess energy that you use from your solar panels that you don't use, it goes back out into the grid. So it's distributed, you know, amongst your neighbors, your school, or wherever it's going at on the grid. So how do you know if you're a good fit for solar? We get that question all the time. So one of the things that we look at the orientation of your roof, is it west, south, or east? These are the three best. Usually not north is not recommended because you don't get as much sun. And we also look at shading. So if you live in an area where you have a lot of trees or you have a lot of shading and the shading is not going to produce as much energy, then you may not be a good fit for rooftop solar. However, you may be a good fit for community solar, and I'll talk about that a little bit later too. And then we look at your energy space on mounting the panels. So you have to have a certain amount of space between the ridge of the roof and the solar panels. And these are what they call fire setbacks. And in every community, or at least in some districts, they are different. Montgomery County, I believe last year, went through a little fire coding thing. And so it reduced the amount of solar panels that could go on some people's roofs. So we take all those different things into consideration. So as I talked about community solar is where you can still participate in renewable energy. However, the panels are not actually on your roof. So I want to give you a good example. So if you've ever seen those big old fields with solar panels, nothing but solar panels, that could be a community solar hosting site. So what you would do, so that would be this right here. And that's where you like buy into well, you don't buy into it, but you subscribe into a solar, what they call a solar, a community solar site. And you can sign up for it and still get the same benefits and reduce your energy costs anywhere between 10 and 20%, depending on who the host is. So anybody can get into community solar. You could be a school, you could be a corner store, you could be a residential family. And so community solar projects, they pay the projects usually monthly to participate. So meaning that when you subscribe to a community solar project, is that a portion of your savings, you'll get a separate utility bill, and it'll give you a credit. So it's like a credit on your bill that you'll actually see. And so sometimes it just depends on how much you are subscribing for. So I have rooftop solar and community solar. And I'm gonna ask this question: how many people know the answer to why I have rooftop solar and community solar? Put it in the chat. That's a quiz for you all. So you have the customer subscribes to it. These are the panels, and then it still goes out to the utility. However, it's a credit that's on your bill, so you're still saving money. This is our website right here. So we just updated this community solar website. Well, it's not a website. It's our community solar platform that is on our website. So if you go on our website and you put this, use this URL, then it will take you directly to our community solar platform. And you can look at this, just some of them. These are just a few that we have on our platform, but there's several more out there. And I always tell people, do your homework and your due diligence, because the different subscriber hosts, they all have different contracts. They all offer different percentages. So just, do your homework, call them up, ask questions, and choose which one is best for you. And also note that you have to use a community solar host site that's in your utility area. So for instance, if you live in Pepco territory, the community solar site has to be in Pepco. If you live in BG&E, it has to be in BG&E. If you live in Potomac Edison, it has to be in Potomac Edison. So you can't live in like Pepco territory and try to subscribe into a BG&E host. So some other components that we get questions about, and the reason why you see this map of Texas is because people ask us about battery backups all the time. If anybody can remember when Texas had that big grid out and they didn't have any electricity, so you may consider battery backup systems if you live in an area that may have frequent grid shutdowns. You may want to get a battery backup if you have like a critical needs. So say for instance, if you have someone in your home that needs medical equipment that runs all the time, or you need a well pump, and also for emergency or disaster preparedness. Now, battery storage and backup systems are expensive. However, the cost of them are coming down because the technology is getting better. The same thing that solar, maybe about 10 years ago, solar was extremely expensive. Very few people could afford it. But now, because of the technology, and you have more people that's looking to go green, so they have a wider net of people that want to go solar, has brought the actual cost down. So these are just some options about the battery. Options that you can use: a 13 kilowatt system battery bank. You may need to charge it, 6 kilowatts daily is how much it uses. Without the sun shining, only have 1 day of power. So these are just kind of some of the things you want to, take in consideration. And if you talk to your installer, some installers offer battery installation and some of them don't. So that's a conversation that you can have with them. If you want to run, certain things like your refrigerator, microwave, lights, cable, and we can't do without cable, right? But if we don't have no cable, you can't get on the internet. You can't get on the internet, you can't use the phone. So people go crazy when they don't have cable. And I'm a prime example of that. I'm a night owl. And one night my cable went out like 2:00 in the morning, which I should have been asleep. I was calling Comcast, like, what's going on? Where is my cable at? What happened? So those kind of things. If you are in a, need to use your air conditioner or washer, dryer, your stove, things of that nature. And so we provide a lot of information on our websites as well. So one of them is a battery storage for homeowners guide, which is really good. Also, we have a YouTube channel. Yes, we are fancy. We are fancy. We have a YouTube channel, and it has a whole bunch of stuff on there. And so I believe it was last year or maybe the year before, is that my manager, Aaron Such, did a whole webinar on battery storage on our YouTube channel. So if you go on our YouTube channel, it might send you down a rabbit hole, but I hope you get a lot of information and education on solar and storage and a whole bunch of other things on our YouTube page. So as I stated earlier, is that this is not just solar, but it's also solar and EV. So think of EV charging. Solar is like you your local fuel company, and who wouldn't love that right now? Who wouldn't love to just go home and plug their car into the wall? You don't have to go to the gas station. You don't have to pay $1 million to get gas. I'm just exaggerating. I know gas is not $1 million, but I'm just exaggerating a little bit. So just think about some of those things. So you can do solar, and EV, or you can just do EV if you choose to. And what I have found is that some people that have gone through our co-op in the past that have gotten solar, they come back and because we give a good price for EV installation, is that they choose to go and do the EV now because now they have the solar. So, you're getting big bang for your buck. So this is the average cost nowadays because of supply chain issues. There may be a little bit more, so don't hold me to this. This is just the average of what we used to see was anywhere between $500 to $700 for the unit. And then the installation could be anywhere between $500 and $2,000. So you're looking at anywhere between $1,000 and $2,700 for the total package. So these are some of the types of EV chargings that we have. Level 1, which is your 120 volt, which is much slower, and you only get about 4 to 6 miles of charging out. And then you have your level 2, which is the most recent, which is a 240 volt. So that's very similar to like the voltage that you would use like for your dryer in your home. And the charging speed is like 6 times faster. You can get anywhere between 10 and 30 miles charge hour. And then there's usually anywhere between a 2 and 3 year warranty. Just depends on who the installer is and where you're getting your equipment from. So EVs are becoming more affordable as well and more popular. Roughly half the homeowners who have solar or an EV have both, like I mentioned earlier. And then there are some federal, state, and local incentives to buy EVs. And if you go on the Maryland EV Incentives website, you can see a little bit more because things are coming out all the time to try to help people or to encourage people, I should say, to buy EV charge. I know Montgomery County just had like some type of pledge where they wanted 100 people to just say, hey, I want to do, I may go EV card next. So a lot of questions we get about the warranties. The warranties on the panels can be anywhere between 20 and 30 years, depending on the company. Homeowners insurance, I always like to encourage people is to call your homeowners insurance and ask them, are the solar panels going to increase your premium, or even if they will insure solar panels or not if something happens to your home. Maintenance is not really, you really don't have to maintain it for several years. However, if you go on our website, we do have a maintenance manual, or we even have people who will help maintenance your panels or service your panels if need be, because sometimes you may have little glitches and things like that. If the solar installer is not willing to do certain things, you can reach out to those companies. The systems last at least 25 to 30 years, if not more. However, the production of them may go down just a little bit. But because the efficiency of the panels, they could last beyond 30 years. Well, so homeowner associations allow solar on my home. Homeowner associations cannot stop you or prevent you from getting solar. However, some homeowner associations make it more challenging for you to get solar. So I always tell people, once again, is to have a conversation with your homeowners association, because we have dealt with this before where you have people in homeowners association communities and their neighbor may have solar, and they will contact us and say, well, my neighbor got solar and how come I can't get solar? I don't know. I don't live there. You should contact your homeowners association and have a discussion with them, because it may be that homeowner may have had a discussion with the homeowners association before they did it. So just do your homework and your due diligence to try and make it more I could say easier for you to get your solar installed. And if you live in a historic district, many times the case is they just don't want to see it from the roof, and it has to meet certain criteria when it comes to permitting. And most installers, because they deal with this an awful lot, is that they'll know how to navigate that system for you. So this is the good thing, the solar economics about how you can go. So everybody want to know, how can I get solar and on my home, and how much is it going to cost? Because you get that question all the time. So as I stated earlier, the cost of solar has dropped 73% since 2010. That's quite significant. So it's no longer this specialty or this boutique project that, only a certain amount of, certain affluent people can afford, because the price is coming down so affordable and more people are getting it, is likely, to keep coming down as well. It's an excellent return on your investment. So you look at the average cost of the return on your investment could be anywhere between, I would say, 7 to 10 years, depending on how much you're investing and what it looks like, how you financed it. And then there's the 26% federal tax credit, and it's supposed to be stepping down after 2022 from 26% to 22%, and then phase out. However, with this new administration, we are trying to get it not just increased, but we're trying to get it to be a permanent program. And that would be phenomenal. So people want to take advantage of that, right? So breaking down, some of the costs of going solar. So one of the things that we have done in the co-op is reduce the installer soft costs, meaning that they save money because they didn't have to do any advertising, they didn't have to do any outreach. So we save them a lot of money, is why we can give good prices in our co-op, because we are taking out a lot of things that the installer actually does not really have to do. So if we bring them, I think in this co-op right now for capital area, we may have 190, maybe 198, maybe 200 people that are actually in the co-op. And that's like 198 people that they didn't have to do any work for. We did all the work for, so we helped reduce their soft costs. So as I stated before, is that the federal tax credit is decreasing. However, we want to see that to be a permanent program and have it to be a permanent program where people can save, anybody that wants to go solar. So this is just an example of what it would look like. The average cost per watt could be $2.70. If you have a 4 to 8 kilowatt system, that's anywhere between $10,000 to $20,000. And when you start looking at the federal tax credit, you're saving anywhere, well, that's a credit of $2,800 to over $5,000. Then the Maryland Residential Clean Energy Grant, which is a taxable grant. So, and I believe the money only lasts, when it's gone, it's gone. So you have to take those things into consideration too. So you're looking at a net cost of anywhere between $7,000 and $15,000. Then you get things like the solar renewable energy tax credit, could be anywhere between $250 to $500. And you look at the overall savings from, I would say over the lifespan of it, you could be saving anywhere between $22,000 and $44,000. So I don't know about y'all, but I think that's an excellent savings on a utility bill that I'm gonna have to pay anyway. Because I could take that $22,000 or $44,000 and go to Puerto Rico or to Cancun, and my dream is to go to Africa. So I could take that money and treat myself really nice, and I don't have to give it to BG&E. That's the good thing about it. So your net profit is anywhere between $14,000 and $28,000. So like I said earlier, if you can save money on a bill that you have to pay anyway, and you can go solar, then just explore the option. You're not committed to do anything, when you become a member. It's about information, education, and you making the best informed decision that you can make for what it is that you want to do next. So these are some of the examples of some of the financing, and you can choose how you want to do it. A 4 kilowatt system, it costs you anywhere between around $11,000, and an 8 kilowatt system could be anywhere, around $20,000, $22,000. And as I stated, these are some of the savings on it. You could use a home equity line of credit, so on our website, we have a whole, I think it may be 2 pages, but I think there is a guide also around talking about the financing and some of the options in a little bit more detail. So you can do a loan. And if you are this is the great thing too, okay? So this year, which is really good, and I wish this was across the state, But Montgomery, if you live in Montgomery County, this is for Montgomery County residents only. And as Robin stated, is that the Green Bank is one of our partners, is that they have a low moderate income program called Access Solar. And if your family income is less than $97,500 or less per household, you may qualify for this program. So, I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I don't know a whole lot of people that's making $97,000 a year, including me. So I might just move to Montgomery County so I can get another house and put solar on it and get some of these products. Or you could use a third party, or what they call a power purchasing agreement. You know, the Green Bank, if you live in Montgomery County, they also have a power purchasing agreement. I live in Baltimore City. I did a power purchasing agreement. Why? Because I didn't have to use any of my own upfront money. However, I still got the benefit of reducing my electricity bill. So these are some of the things that you can think about. These are some of the things that you can also talk to installers. Some installers offer them, some of them don't. So just, you know, shop around, look around, and see what makes the best, you know, sense for you. You can lease it. Leasing is where it's the same as almost the PPA. The panels are on your roof, however, you don't own them. But what I like about it too is that I don't own them, but I don't have to maintain them either. So I'm gonna tell you something, you will never see me climbing on my roof to fix anything. So if something happened to one of them panels, Kimberly Armstrong is not going up there to find out what's going on. However, the maintenance will be on the whoever owns the system. So that's one of the good benefits about it too. And then you have things like the reprogram, which is a grant for rural energy through the Rural Energy America program. And then you have what I talked about earlier, which is the Maryland $1,000 tax grant, taxable grant. Well, I don't know why they call it a grant, because my understanding is a grant, you're not supposed to pay back, or it's not supposed to be taxed, but however, you know, that's the way they word it. You know, these are some of the other loan options. You can go through the installer. Some installers have their own financing products that they use. Home equity line, you can refinance. Like I said earlier, installer financing, people finance a company, which is, I don't know why I said that twice. But these are just some other options that you can use to financial system if you choose to go solar. Now, how does the solar co-op work? That's why I'm here. All right, so the first thing is that you have the best value on your installation. You get support throughout the process, meaning that we take a lot of hiccups out of going through the process, because it can be challenging. And if you don't know something or know who to ask or where to call, sometimes it can be, you may not understand things, which is one of the reasons why I go over and do these info sessions and try to just give people a little bit of insight and clarity of some of the things they will hear, some of the things they may want to ask questions about. And then you're connecting with your fellow solar, you know, enthusiasts, you know, like me. You know, I love solar, you know, and if I had not gotten into it, I call it what I had a light bulb moment. That's what it was. Get it, Robin? Light bulb moment.
Yes, I do. And your superpower.
And so you also become a part of a growing community, because, I mean, you know, I'm just being very honest, is that when me and Robin got into this industry, you did not see a lot, you do not see, and you still don't really see a lot of people of color or Black people in certain, you know, arenas. So we want everybody to be involved. We want this to be really inclusive for people to go solar and be a part of this movement. Now you hear everybody talking about solar. You got Biden talking about solar. You got Kamala Harris talking about solar. You got everybody on the plane talking about solar. I'm gonna give you a quick story before I go over this. Years ago, I always been a community organizer, and I used to organize around juvenile and criminal justice issues and other social justice issues. And so we were marching in Annapolis around like the prison to school pipeline and, getting people jobs and things of that nature. So one of my girlfriends, we were marching. I told her, I said, I'm going to start doing more work around environmental justice and solar and stuff like that. And she looked at me like I was crazy. Like she's, I don't know what that girl talking about. I was like, yeah, go ahead and do what you're going to do. And guess what? Maybe about a couple of months ago, she called me and she said, Kim, she said, how in the world did you know? I said, because not only was I paying attention, but if I hadn't had that aha moment when I was at BCCC around leadership and environmental energy and design, about how all these things were connecting and affecting us as humans from a public health perspective, is that I probably wouldn't have known too. So it just takes getting the word out. So you're doing the first thing about learning about the co-op process is you're doing it tonight. Come into one of our info sessions and sign up online, help to spread the word. And then after we do all of that, then we get a couple of people together from the co-op, and we help them to facilitate this to select the installer by doing an RFP. And from the next 4 to 8 months, you do have a sign up deadline, which is August 31st for this particular co-op. And then you look at your proposals. You don't have any commitments until you sign the contract with the installer, not with us. And then after that, maybe around the end of the year, we're looking at having a celebration and a party. And that is my information. If you want to contact me to join the co-op, here are some QR codes. And Robin, are we going to now show people how to sign up?
Yeah, and I'm gonna take it from here, and I'm going to show folks how to, or actually you're gonna show them how to sign up, but I'm gonna talk a little bit before you do. Okay.
Okay. While you are doing it, I'm gonna go ahead and get my stuff.
Yeah, I think Jonathan is putting all of the information in the chat. So now we're gonna take action. That's what we do, right? We're gonna take action. So by just expressing interest in solar purchasing group, this co-op. So basically, I'm just telling you, there is no obligation. This is just expressing interest, just for them to do an assessment. It's a no cost out of your pocket, no cost for you, but it will give you the idea about what's going on with your house, and if you can also put solar on your house or not. Also, there's information about community solar we're going to put in the chat. So now this year, like Kimberly said, it's open, the co-op, this particular co-op, the capital area co-op, right? Kimberly, is open until August 31st. And unless Congress passes some new climate legislation this week, and we will pray for that, the federal tax credit will be stepping down at the end of this year. But if Congress passes it, it may go up. Who knows? But we're just praying that Congress will pass that, the climate legislation. So solar panels could get more expensive after this year if they do not pass it. So I want to invite anyone who owns a home in Maryland, DC, or Northern Virginia that isn't powered by sunshine to get connected. This is no commitment for you, but just getting a free proposal just to see if your house qualifies for solar or has enough sun. As Kim mentioned earlier. Ultimately, it's your decision to proceed or not. So there's no pressure. Sun is a nonprofit, so it's not, that's not their thing. They're just trying to help. So the very first step is to let Sun evaluate your home, and they'll get back to you in a couple of days if you fill out the form. And we're going to put some links in the chat, okay? And I want to mention for DC and Montgomery County, the special programs for low and moderate income. So don't think you don't qualify, you may. So make note on the form if you're interested in that. There may be some things on the form that you don't know, just a heads up, some questions you may not know. Don't worry about it, just answer what you do know. Son's gonna follow up with you and get all the information. So Kimberly, if you can share your screen and kind of show a little bit about how they would go about doing this, that'd be great.
Yeah, so can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So what you want to do is where it says Go Solar, you want to go to where it says Join a Solar Co-op. Then you will find Maryland. And as I stated, we have 2 co-ops going, Anne Arundel County and the Eastern Shore. And then we have the Maryland capital area. I'm going to click on that one. So we have 205 members and we have 4 more weeks to go. Last year I beat Northern Virginia. Just wanted you all to know. I had like 300, I had like 360 some members last year. Where it says join a co-op, click that. And we talk about on the first page the Access Solar program, which is for Montgomery County residents only. However, if you don't live in Montgomery County, you can just say no, that you don't qualify, and just fill the form out. And as Robin stated, if you don't have the information, we just want you to fill out what you do have, what you do know. Because I think a part of this, we ask you some things about your actual utility, but you can always upload those things later. And so one of the benefits for also becoming a member of Solar United Neighbors, which is totally free, even though it says member, the membership is free, is that we give you a satellite review of your home. And we'll say yay, nay, and sometimes we have places where it may a little bit in between. So what we'll do in those cases is we will send them to the installer to kind of help figure out if it's a go or a no or not. And most of the time it's because of trees and shading. So if anybody wants to take a minute, just go ahead and fill it out.
Yes, we're gonna actually right now, if you all can take a minute, we're gonna give you a couple of minutes to go onto their website and click join the co-op. And as we said, no commitment, no obligation, just information. And that's what we all need. So please go ahead and check it out with the links. I think they're in the chat for the different areas, depending on where you live. I think
Robin, so just to make sure I'm on the right page, this is the $35 membership?
No.
No, okay. Then
No.
I'm wrong.
No.
Go ahead.
No, go to where it says Go Solar, then go to where it says Join a Solar Co-op, click on that, then click Maryland. And if you're in PG County, Frederick, or Montgomery County, or Baltimore County, you would pick or choose the capital area. Click on that. And you should see this page right here where it has updates, events, and then this is just for installers, so you don't have to worry about that. But then you want to click on the button that says join a co-op. And this is the form that you want to fill out. So your page should look like this.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there's no charge for this. So I think we had some music, but it's okay. We'll just talk.
I can sing for y'all.
I'm not exactly sure if that'll work. So, someone asked, while we're waiting, someone did ask, the assessment of your home is based on the satellite view of the home. Isn't that correct?
Say that again.
So the assessment of your home is based on satellite view of the home.
No, so
Minister Joyce, I see you. She asked that question.
no, so the satellite review is just to mainly see, like if you have a whole bunch of trees, and Google satellite, sometimes the satellite is not as updated. So the main thing is what they'll look at. A lot of times, if an installer has a question, they may come out to your house and visit to see, or you may take your own pictures because sometimes the satellite images are not as updated.
Okay. I'm gonna give you guys a couple of minutes, just like 2 minutes to check out that, sign up for some co-ops. If you're interested in community solar, I think we put a link in there. I'll make sure you get that information as well if you can't put solar on your roof. Say that one more. I'm sorry.
On the sign up screen,
Yes.
one of the questions is, how did you hear about us?
Oh, yeah. You can say the home solar workshop, something like that. We'll know by the Kimberly will know by the date. The date.
Yeah, well, put in how did you hear about us? Put IPL sun let the sun shine in workshop.
Yeah. Well, you
that
can,
way because all this stuff is recorded in Salesforce.
right.
So that'll know, because we get referrals from IPL all the time. So they refer people to us, we refer people. We do, these co-sponsor workshops, often.
Yeah.
And we'll know which one it was.
That's true. And definitely please do note IPL. If you haven't already, then Kimberly, when it comes through, I guess we'll know. But yeah, that would be good if you put IPL. So I think I'm gonna say thank you very much for you guys who signed up. That I think it's well worth it, whether you do it or not. It will give you knowledge, and knowledge is power, right?
Kimberly, sorry to interrupt. This is Cindy with the Green Bank. I just got a message from Sylvie, who I think has a question for you guys. She's in Alexandria, Virginia. Don't know how old the roof is. If it's too old, do I need to change it before I put the solar? So I'm just passing that message over to you to answer.
Absolutely, great question. So if you think that you need a new roof, then do the roof before you get solar. Because what you do not want is to have solar put on your home. They probably wouldn't install solar on your home anyway if the roof is no good, because they will tell you that. And some installers also they work with roofing companies. So if your roof is not fit, go ahead and get it replaced and then do the installation, because you don't want to have a bad roof, have solar, and then have the installers come back and take the panels off, because they do charge you, and some of them charge you per panel, and then come back out and put the panels back on. That's just a tedious process. And so I would say do the roof first and then get the panels. Great question. Thank you.
So everyone, I want to thank you all. I think this was informative. I hope you guys learned something from this. We all need to know about this, because this is the way of the future. So I want to thank you so much, Kimberly. You're awesome. You are all that. And I want to thank you so much for sharing this information. I want to thank all the co-sponsoring churches, which I listed before, Montgomery County Green Bank, all of you for joining. I want to thank my coworker, Jonathan. He's on here doing the technical stuff. I want to thank Joelle. I sound like, the Academy Award. Well, not the Academy Awards. I don't want to say that. But I want to thank Joelle and all the people who helped put this thing together. Thank you to my church. You guys are awesome. And all the churches that are on here, I want to thank you guys. So please, if you have any questions, you know how to reach me. I will send out the recording to this. I'm not sure if you're going to share your slides. We can talk about that later, but I will send out everything I can so you guys can have some information later. Okay. If there's any other questions we can answer before we split. Anybody? If not, please stay in touch, join Green the Church DMV so you can keep in touch with us and know all the things that are going on in the environment and the Black church, because there's a lot of stuff going on. You just don't hear about it. So you gotta know, okay? So thank you very much, everybody.
So I would say spread the word. Don't hold all the information and knowledge to yourself. Spread it and let the light shine, let the sun shine.
Let the sun shine in. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. All right, everyone have a good night. Bye-bye.
Night.